Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced sees players return to an iconic entry in the Ubisoft series. Just when you thought being an assassin throughout notable historical periods would end, the age of piracy popped up. With the reveal of the remake of the original PS4 launch title, Ubisoft aims to provide a more refined experience for players. Something that can be welcoming for players who are from an older generation or are newer players. While the game is just over a decade old, it's exciting to see that Edward Kenway's adventure is being revitalized again. But, with that being said, does Ubisoft do a good enough job at making an already powder keg blast of a game that much better? Hello everyone, this is Francis from Smash Jump with Chris Melnyk's review of Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. If you haven't played the original Black Flag, it's got an intriguing story. More so with that Assassin's Creed magic sprinkled onto it. Players step into the Animus as they play through the eyes of Edward Kenway, a pirate in the early 1700s. If that date seems familiar to some history heads, it falls during the age of piracy worldwide, especially in the Caribbean. Kenway, after getting mixed up in a Templar scheme, must trek around the Caribbean to find the observatory. It's a device that can find and track anyone in the world through a blood sample. And if you know your Assassin's Creed lore, you'll know that's a power no one should have, especially the Templars. The story of the game is as great as it was many years ago. While the gameplay is the main focus in these games, they don't outshine the narrative. The blend of pirates fighting to maintain their freedom while also combating the Templars trying to take over is a great combination. There have always been times of rebellion or war throughout the world of Assassin's Creed, serving as backdrops for the story. And when it comes to Edward's plight, he starts with longing for riches and freedom before realizing the greater threat that awaits him and the rest of the world. While there have been some new additions of missions and cutscenes to the story, the overarching premise is the same. And with the removal of modern-day storytelling, it's uninterrupted, something that I have always preferred when it comes to the story of the series. The present narrative is fine, but nothing beats seeing the events unfold in iconic periods of history. And when it comes to Edward's hand in this era, it's smooth sailing without the wind being taken out of its sails. A big change with Black Flag Resynced is the gameplay, specifically with the combat. First and foremost, I have to talk about how great it is that I can actually crouch anytime now. I know, it may sound odd, but in the original title, players couldn't crouch for stealth whenever. But with Resynced, if you are looking to get through enemy strongholds quietly, crouching is your best friend now. Not only that, but when you crouch up against different objects, you can lean on them, allowing you to peek corners and ambush/assassinate foes. Next, the combat itself got a major upgrade. When fighting against enemies, you must break through their guard to open them up to takedowns, a mechanic you may be familiar with in the newer entries of the series. It's something that suits the game and makes the combat feel more intuitive. While the classic assassinations are there, if you are feeling like tackling foes head-on, the combat is much better. Furthermore, if a foe doesn't let their guard down, you have new ways of ensuring they do. For example, you can sweep them off their feet and perform a takedown, or you can do heavy strikes to ensure that you break through their blocks and lay some hits down on them. Something that can be done with various swords and even the pistols and sword combo. Of course, advanced parkour is a setting that makes its return from Assassin's Creed Shadows. It allows you more freedom when doing parkour around the game, and it's fantastic in Black Flag Resynced. Instead of things feeling more linear with ascending or descending, you can gain more agency. The same thing happens when jumping around. A massive upgrade over the original game, which felt like only a handful of directions in which Edward could jump. Therefore, it makes the parkour feel more up-to-date, like Shadows. Mix that with the world and gameplay of Black Flag, and it makes for a fantastic gameplay experience. Black Flag Resynced is also very accommodating when it comes to the gameplay experience, something that Ubisoft has always been keen on leaning into in the past. But it's more so now than before. Difficulty settings are just a part of it, such as playing through to enjoy the story or cranking it up to the hardest and testing your skills. Furthermore, you can change things, such as being able to completely wipe your HUD off the screen. That way, if you are going for the more immersive feeling, you don't have to be boggled down with icons, inventory, etc. What's even better is that transmogrification makes an appearance within the game. So, if you find a really powerful weapon but hate the look of it, you can change the appearance. And the best part is, it doesn't cost anything except needing to have acquired that item to change the appearance of it. It's a great feature and further adds to the personality of the game and is accommodating to the player, therefore allowing you to customize your experience as you want, instead of having to sacrifice your power to ensure Edward has better style. With all of the customization you can make to Black Flag Resynced, players can shape the game the way they want. If you feel like styling out but making things a true challenge mixed in with no HUD, you can. Or, if you are more of a relaxed gamer, you can set the game to be more forgiving to ensure you are helped out along the way, whether with enjoying the story or having markers guide you along the way. The gameplay settings ensure that you get to guide Edward on his journey in your own way. One of the best anticipations with Black Flag Resynced was the visuals of the game. The game uses the latest rendition of the Anvil engine. Right away, you notice that things look much better. The environments and lighting are the main winners here. There were many times I was walking around on foot and noticed just how great the shimmering of the sun would look on the water, or even the details like Edward's clothes being drenched from a swim. However, even the water, both on the surface and in the depths, shines well, reminiscent of something you would see in the Caribbean. The game also adopts the dynamic weather from Shadows, and it fits well. I had times like sailing from Nassau where it's sunny and not a cloud in the sky. As I continued on my journey though, I would run into harsh rains and have to adapt. All the while, things look stunning. Ubisoft does a great job of showing the breathtaking work on how the game looks. And with the Caribbean already looking like heaven on earth in many places, Black Flag Resynced portrays it. But while the visuals look great and updated, there was one change that was a bit off to me, and that comes from how the characters look. More specifically, the design of Edward. While he doesn't look too jarring, there were times that I kept thinking this assassin had been stung by bees on his adventures. I'm not sure if it's a visual bug or not, but seeing Edward in some of the cutscenes had me thinking he had changed for the worse. The audio quality in Black Flag Resynced also got to receive the updated treatment. Not only are there updated voice lines, but the quality of the audio overall sounds much better. Much of the audio, from what I can remember, is still as it was back in 2013. But there is a crispness to the characters when they talk, not just to each other but also when Edward is talking to himself, whether in missions or as you explore the different areas of the game. Furthermore, the voice work in the game still holds up really well. The emotions, or even the way characters talk, feel just like something you would hear around that time period, showing that the series continued to have some great talent behind the roles. Additionally, the environment audio is still just as good as ever. For example, the sounds that storms make as you sail through them seem more detailed. You can hear the whine of the wind or the pitter-patter of rain hitting you. At times, it made me feel like trying to find the nearest port to call home in the storm. Plus, the sounds of swords clashing together or cannons firing when you are in combat make it feel like the right amount of TLC went into having you feel like it's the real deal. However, I have to highlight that the best part of the game's audio journey, the sea shanties and music, are indeed still there. When it comes to the shanties, they still sound just as great as ever, and it brought me back to the days of the original game. They stuck with me since then, and hearing them here put the biggest smile on my face. When it comes to the music, having Jesper Kid's tunes back in the game at a higher quality is superb, and being able to hear the main theme of Black Flag again was just the icing on the cake for me. When it comes to Black Flag Resynced, many players may have been asking, why are we already getting a remake of this? Honestly, I too was questioning it at first. The game shows that the care and work put into it can make it worth diving into again, or even through the first time if you haven't journeyed through as Edward yet. It features its original but incredible story, and with the bonus of no modern day sections to really slow you down or take you out of the experience, it's a good start. Additionally, the updated gameplay changes, such as improved stealth and combat, make the game feel more modern. While the original game still holds up pretty well, Resynced just makes it that much more enjoyable. It can be something as simple as being able to crouch more frequently, or making it so combat feels more involved, such as breaking an enemy's block or doing multiple takedowns during group fights. Ubisoft went to show that they weren't just simply giving Black Flag a fresh coat of paint and new sails, but rather improve the experience so that all players can enjoy it as it was released nowadays. Sure, some of the visuals, especially with characters, may seem a bit off. Overall though, Black Flag Resynced is something that feels like a big improvement. It gives all players the chance to see what is potentially one of the best entries in the series, and one that I found solace in playing. Although there isn't any multiplayer or DLC with Resynced, it honestly doesn't need them to be as addicting and entertaining to play. The game doesn't feel like a sinking ship, rather, it feels like a restored beauty taking its rightful place in front of the fleet.